Let's just see if it... Yep. Oh. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. It's the DJI AVATA review. This initial video is going to be the setup and unboxing. If we have enough time, we'll go ahead and do a little quick flight test. I do want to do some in-depth flights and review on this thing. So this is going to be the first out of the series. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. I've been on a hiatus for a while. Sorry guys. We had a little baby boy, as most of you already know, and it was just a tough move, but I'm back. We did buy a new house in the Southwest. Here it is, beautiful place. I am still gonna be going back and forth to Hawaii. Those of you who subscribe to my channel probably know that my main residence was in Hawaii, so I'm gonna try to be living in both places now. So much more to come, and also I think I'm gonna do YouTube full-time now. So I went ahead and quit my day job, and I'm gonna try to give YouTube a full-time effort. So you're gonna see a lot more reviews from me. Stay tuned and let's get started. Okay, so just jumping in here, you probably noticed this isn't the original camera I have. I'm still shipping a crate and I have some of my equipment in the crate. So this is actually using the DJI Action 2 cam to do this video. I almost forgot to mention I do have these other things. So as you can see, the kit I got was the DJI 2 goggle kit with the motion controller, and there's the drone. It comes with one battery and a charger. I went ahead and got the Flymore kit like I usually do, 2 batteries and a multi-charger. So all in all, you're gonna have 3 batteries with the one that comes in here. I also went ahead and picked up a extra set of propellers. I don't anticipate this crashing that much. It does have the propeller protector guards on it, so may not even need to use these, but it just depends on how rusty I am at flying, right? I also do have the DJI backpack, FPV backpack, member from the first main FPV drone these guys released. I got another one, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that out too, see how all this fits in there. But anyway, sorry about dragging on there. Let's get started with taking this thing out of the package here. I have not touched it. It just came in a couple days ago to our new address here. I've got a lot of reviews pending, guys. Sorry to the guys that have been wanting me to do reviews, but also I did do the Mavic 3 Pro Mini, the Mavic 3 Mini Pro, sorry. And that is, I'm still editing that. But I just figured I wanted to start off fresh in our new house and go ahead and just do this one. So we got 2 boxes in the main box. And for those of you that don't know what this is it's kind of like DJI's effort to do like a CineWhoop, like a tiny whoop / cinema drone, and kind of just like cram all their good technology into this little guy. And they're taking it a step further because everybody knows how awesome DJI's FPV OcuSync system is. So this should be coming with the OcuSync 3 video link. So you're gonna get that super clear video, hopefully. We're gonna find that out in my review here. You may have seen my other reviews on the first DJI FPV drone. Now that is a big honkin' heavy drone, right? And it's loud, it's heavy. So this is gonna be a fresh change so we can see like what the difference is on how loud this thing is, how much flight time we're gonna get. Also how much range. I do range tests, so we'll also do a range test on this one. Anyway, that's all the packaging off. Let's go ahead and bust the drone out first. On the top here, we just cut this and we open that up. So we have reading material, manuals here, quick start guide, safety guidelines, warranty, all that stuff. Wrapped in a really solid plastic bag here with that infamous sticky seam, and let's slide it out. Nice. So my first time seeing it. So this is bigger than I expected it to be. I expected it to be, when they say palm size, that's not really palm size. That's maybe full extended hand size, right? Not as small as I thought this would be at all. I was thinking like maybe this big. This is substantial. So this is trying to compete with those CineWhoops that are, I guess, a little bit larger as well. Downward facing sensors. So optical flow cameras, it looks like here. Those look like they may be laser or LiDAR. But this thing, man, my goodness, just the robustness of the plastic. This is not some flimsy little plastic. Like, it looks like you're gonna be able to nail this thing into the ground, into walls. This is like all inclusive. You don't need to get any more braces on this. Stickers here to protect the top, scratch protectant stickers. And there it is. So it says the AVATA on the battery there. So a similar connection to like the first FPV drone where you have the cable on this kind of rubber connector and then it's just pushing in to the bottom there. If we tap the battery, looks like there's only one light because these guys usually want you to fully charge the battery before you even try to turn it on. Let's figure out how to take this battery out. So they're not making it super easy. Pushing really hard in there. See how that little clip releases there. Wow, so 17 volt max power on the battery, nominal 14.7. It's like a high voltage 4S. 2420 mAh lithium ion polymer. Okay, so it's just those stacked bag cells. So there's the battery, and remember I got 2 more of these in the Fly More kit. Man, it just looks really robust. It just looks like they took a lot of time designing the frame to withstand crashes, probably because they learned from the first DJI FPV that was probably breaking a lot of arms for people. Here's the propellers. They do screw on, no quick release here. They are 5-blade propeller guards slash, I guess you could call them ducts. See how it's kind of a tapered thing where they have it wider on top. It tapers down into the bottom. So it's directing the airflow. The motors are on not just one arm, but they're 2 arms going back into the main body. You have the feet here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see that, how it's gonna keep it off the ground, just barely. And you have the downward facing sensors. That's pretty much all this thing has. So I don't think it's gonna have any crash resistance in the front. Maybe they've come quite a ways with their technology so they can use that bottom to partially help you with the front. And you saw how that came off. So that's the camera gimbal guard. And guys, this one comes with a, just like their first FPV drone, kind of a 1-axis gimbaled camera where it's gonna go up and down, but it's not going to stabilize with a gimbal left and right or side to side. What they're depending on is their kind of their rock steady technology, kind of like what they have in the camera that I'm videoing this with, electronic image stabilization. But it does look like it has quite a bit of rotation. Geez, that goes all the way up to just about 90 and it goes down to 90. So this will be interesting when we're flying. Action cam lens is what it looks like, a wide angle action camera lens. And you can see the cooling fins back there. It does have the dampening for a vibration. You can see it's got these little rubber grommets in here. 1, 2, 3 of them, 2 in the front, 1 in the back on the frame, and taking out the minimal shake on there. It does have a top little electronic module up here. So that'd be cool if this had GPS, wouldn't it? Back left. It's got the only rubber door and it's saying micro SD on the left and type C on the right. So you're gonna have a USB. It's kind of a, is that a rubber door? Yeah, it's like a hard rubber. This thing does 4K 60 frames per second in that rock steady stabilized video, so it's going to be unreal, hopefully. A little bit difficult with these things sitting here. Not too bad though. And that's how that snaps in there. Doesn't look like it's going to be really that waterproof or resistant because I don't feel any seals. It just kind of popped in there. You know, maybe a little bit of rain, it might do okay, but definitely don't dunk it. Sliding under, snapping over. That was super easy. Okay, drone down, and what else is in here? So here is, what is this? I'm just gonna pull these things out. Cables, here's the propellers. Okay, that's everything in that box. I don't know why I'm opening this, but here we go. We only got 2 propellers and then a set of screws and a wrench. These seem like they're gonna last a while, especially with the protection of the propeller guards. So USB, oh, this is the charger. Okay, hello. No power adapter. So that's, I guess that's the norm now. We don't have any power adapter. It's a USB type C, plugs in there. And then you're gonna have to have your own means to charge it you need like a wall charger adapter to plug this into. And then the way this battery goes on, let's try it out. Push it in, it only can go in one way. Can't get this wrong, and that just sits in like that. So that's the basic charger it comes with. Remember, I got this kit right here. So this is the Fly More kit. Since we're on the battery, let's just check this out real quick. They just have a little tear off. Forgot about that. Opening up the Fly More kit, guys. So it may be worth it for you if you're gonna do a lot of flying, consecutive flying, like one flight after another, to get this kit. I always do, and it does pay off because you save some money when you buy the Fly More kits all together with the drone. If you were to buy it after, you know, you're losing about, I don't know, $50 or so of savings. Anyway, 2 batteries here, both exactly the same battery. Wow, this one has what, some spider webs on it? Hey, no charge for the spider webs, right? Do not get any cables, so I guess they're banking that you're gonna have the cable from the original charger. So we'll take that off. Plug it in, you see this thing, how it has the capacity to charge 4 batteries. Put it on the 4-way multi-charger. So you could even get 1 more battery, guys, and go ahead and put it on here and charge them. Not gonna charge all at once, but they're gonna charge in consecutive order. Whichever one is the highest charges first to get you flying, and then it goes over to the next highest charge and the next and the next and so on. So there is the Fly More kit. Now check it out, DJI goggles 2. Now this is not the FPV goggles. Like, remember the first FPV goggles came out with the FPV drone? This is kind of like the 2nd generation of those big honkin' white goggles. So it's kind of interesting, their naming references, but they're calling them the goggles 2, and this is the kit that comes with the motion controller. Pretty cool. These ones actually come built in with the ability to focus. That is really appreciated. I haven't seen any goggles have that yet, so good job, DJI, for doing that. So not just open up and fly, okay? You have to plug these into your phone, get them all set up. So for some of you, that's a pain in the butt, but they're requiring you to do it. Anyway, here we go. So opening up the side box, here is the goggle battery. Here is the motion controller. Here is the goggle strap. And here are some cables, lens covers, another cable. And here are the goggles, guys. Wow, they're just tiny now. Oh my goodness. That's it, that's everything in that box. I can't believe how tiny these things are. And here they are. Ooh. DJI goggles 2. Not DJI FPV goggles 2, just DJI goggles 2. These things are tiny. Right on, man. Way to go with the compactness. These things are getting small, so cooling vents up top. You see these antennas, they just flipped up. So we don't have like the 4 antenna configuration like we did with DJI FPV goggles, but hopefully these work okay. I'm gonna be flying around the house here. Cooling vents here. Hopefully there's fans to kind of suck air around inside there. We have our digital display like the other ones had. Here are our anchor points for our strap. So headphones and memory card on one side, Type-C, jack and power on the other hand side. Touch operation area, nice. Let's peel this off real quick. Wow, they really stuck that sucker on there. Feels like there's some residue. That's pretty much it for the outside front, but look at this, man. These things are so tiny and light. So cool, great little lens cover here. Keep the lenses away from direct sunlight to avoid damage. So don't ever want to have the sun shining in here. So always like turn them over when you're outside, or, you know, put them somewhere in the shade. So peeling this bad boy off. Let's see how this works. So unlock here. Oh man, that is an ingenious way to do this. Check this out. So it's like a push lock. Unlock drops this little thing down, this little knob, and then as you turn it, it's going to be focusing. That's just great. Check this out. You can also adjust the IPD, right? Space between your eyeballs. So not everybody has the same space. So just wonderful. So that's all the way close up, and then you slowly pull them out. right, for wider eyes. And there's also a sensor in here so it can sense when the goggle's off or on, so you're not wasting power. Face cup, like rubber here, rubberized. It's not like foamy, but it's in between foam and rubber, just like a soft rubber. There were some issues with the last FPV goggles where there was light leak coming through the nose. So it looks like they've remedied that possibly by having the nose cup come higher up on the nose. These goggles are smaller than the drone. Look at this. Look at that. Those things are tiny. Hey, you're in a sunny area, put these suckers on. Looks like they go on really easy. You don't have to worry about burning out your lenses, right? So let's see what else we got. We have this connector here. This looks like a USB female to C. Ah, these are, what are these? So I'm gonna have to check out what those do. Opening up the head strap, just a simple little head strap, nothing major here, but the goggles are so light that it looks like they can bring it down to something very simple. Go through. Oh, it looks like that thing comes off too. This thing comes off pretty easy. See how simple that just kind of clips out if you want to get another face guard there. There we go. So it clips in on the side is where it clips. So these are going to have to Velcro strap kind of one way, and then you do all your adjustments from this strap here for the size of your head. We have our power cable. So this is going to go from our battery, and check it out. They got a little clip on it now so it doesn't unintentionally pull out and your goggles go off. So that's going to go in there. It feels like it's stuck in there pretty good, so you don't really need a clip, I guess, on this side, but there is a reason they put a clip on here, especially when the battery's in your pocket, right? You might be reaching in your pocket and then boom, this thing just unclips. This is how this goes. Here is the battery. It's very similar to their other one. Looks like it's about 40% charged if you just click that. Clip up on the outside, plug in and this snaps. So that can't pull out. 7 to 9 volt output, 18 watts, 1800 mAh. So this looks like it's probably those little cylindrical lithium ion hard cells in this one, because this doesn't have to have a huge amount of output, right? It's just keeping the goggles powered. All right, last thing in the box, guys, was the motion controller. I know this is taking a while, but bear with me for those of you who just want to have a really in-depth look on what you get with this amount of money. I mean, this was no cheap drone either. All their drones are just getting so expensive. I mean, this little guy, this whole package here put me away like, gosh, what, $1,700 for a controller, goggles, fly more kit, and the Avata and the extra propellers. And of course I got that bag. So it looks like the same exact motion controller that you can buy for their other FPV drone. This is the accelerator. So this is like your throttle. Tilt the camera up and down with this button. Lock here, start recording there. You have a brake, so you just hit that in midair and it just stops immediately. Mode button here for selecting your modes of flight. So if we hit the power, let's see. Yeah, this thing's got about 40% charge as well. And on the bottom, we have our USB-C jack there for charging. A little lanyard here, really simple. Since you're gonna have the goggles on, you're gonna be holding this in your hand. By the way, guys, you can always also use that controller that came with the original FPV drone. I do have that for my other one, so I'll probably be using that too. But I went ahead and got this combo because you only can get it with the motion controller, which was available to order now, or with that other stick controller, which wasn't available yet, or with just the drone by itself, which also wasn't available to order yet. So this was the only one that was available, so I wanted to get it sooner than later. Of course, the motion controller isn't going to give you the precise and in-depth control as a regular controller, especially if you switch into manual mode, but I think this will be good to get us started. So anyway, guys, I think we need to hook all this stuff up, charge it up. I'm gonna charge this stuff up, tell you how long it takes to charge each battery. And then we're gonna kind of hook everything up to the phone and see if we have any issues through that whole hookup, maybe some updating. So hang in there just a little bit longer because this is stuff you need to know. Okay guys, wow, so that was an absolute doozy. I gotta tell you, just telling you the truth. Simultaneously, when you have everything plugged in and charging, 2 hours to charge this, 2 hours to charge this, and it takes 2 hours to charge one battery. And keep in mind that these are half charged about from the factory. If you deplete these down to a pretty minimum, You're looking at a total of about 4 hours to charge one thing. So I'd definitely recommend charging them kind of all at the same time. Just be aware of that. Give yourself some time when you first get this thing. Like I always say in all of my videos, especially with DJI products, charge everything up first, all the way before you start doing updating. And that's what we're gonna start doing right now. Let's just see if anything is paired up. So let's go ahead and turn on the motion controller by just tapping once and then tap and hold. You're gonna see that come up, and then let's go ahead and power on for the first time the AVATA. So click and hold, and let's check this out. Cool, so we got a little light on top. Look at that camera, it just kind of went up, down real quick, and it's flashing, so there really is nothing that's pre-bound up, okay? So we have to bind these together. So we got those two on. Doesn't look like anything's linked up yet. Let's just go ahead and turn on the goggles too. So remember, we got to plug the goggles in separately also with the little battery, and also turn them on. So same thing, quick press, then press and hold. Okay, cool. So they have their own chime to boot up as well. Maybe you guys can see this. Let's see if I can get in there. There we go. So you can actually see the screen. So that came up. So we're gonna do just like language selection and all that kind of stuff. And what we're using for this selection process is this pad right here. Look at these goggles, man. They look pretty slick, don't they? As I go down here and roll these things, boy, that's the left eye, so super clear. Right eye. Swiping forward is making the cursor go to the right. Swiping back is going to the left. Swiping down, of course, is down and up. So guys, I gotta say right now, I wanna say it's about 80 degrees here in the Southwest, and I'm getting a little bit of fog in the lenses. So kind of unfortunate. I didn't see any alternative fan. I can hear a fan. Now you basically have like a goggle tutorial. You know, if you wanna view the tutorial, you can go check that out. 2 fingers to return to the previous menu or exit. Awesome. So that's like the back. Press and hold locks the screen. Awesome. So a little circular lock, unlock. Boom. Now it says goggles not activated. Connect goggles to mobile phone. And this is why they give you this little OTG cable. So the OTG cable is going to go into the USB cable that we got in the box. Now we have 2 ends that are USB-C. One into the goggles. I'm listening to the goggles and it looks like that fan is going to go off and on as it feels like it needs to. So I'm plugging in right here and let's see what happens. Don't need to open Insta360. Nope. Let's try this. Sometimes these cables work better if you flip them around. See this OTG part? Let's try to have that up here into the goggles, and then let's try to have the longer portion go into the phone. There we go. Okay, choose an app for the USB device. So that made all the difference, just making sure the short end here is in the goggles. So I want this to be DJI Fly always for this device. And check it out. Activate DJI device. Agree? Activating the goggles. And now we have a firmware update. So we need to go ahead and download this. Download. Connect with all devices used along with the goggles before update. All right, so now what we need to do is connect everything, right? So let's try to connect. All right, cool. So it does like a tutorial. This is great. There we go. Powering up the AVATA. Now let's see what's happening in the goggles again. Okay, now it says connecting to DJI AVATA. Okay guys, so unfortunately it's a little unclear on the instructions exactly how to link up. So we did the DJI Fly app to the actual phone. We got the goggles activated and linked. So now we need to link the controller to the AVATA. In the instructions it says aircraft to the motion controller. We need to hold the power button on the aircraft until it beeps once. So holding it in. There we go. Press and hold the power button on the controller until it starts to beep continually. Beeping stops when linked. So here we go. So holding power. There we go. Okay, this is how you link controller to the AVATA. There we go. It's kind of going off and on, so that's kind of strange. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on, guys. Kind of strange. All else fails, reboot, right? Okay, guys, quite frustrating, but what I had to do was go back into the DJI Fly app, reconnect the goggles via the, remember the USB cable to the goggles, because I wasn't getting any connection. The activate came back up, so I'm gonna go ahead and just try to activate. So the AVATA came up. There we go. Activate DJI device, aircraft RC, agree. And let's see what we can do here. Just like always, DJI's kind of got a little bit of a rigmarole you got to deal with to first activate these. The drone just rebooted itself. Restarting the aircraft, so bear with me here. We're just going to go through a couple things. Now check that out. The controller just blinked, linked all up. It's now restarting the aircraft and activation successful. There we go. So now I have motion controller instructions on the goggles. And it looks like, see, there's already some smear from my eyeballs and stuff on the lenses. So you're gonna have to really keep those clean. I didn't even see a cleaning cloth for the lenses, right? So that could be a problem. And in the DJI Fly app, it's gonna say, do you wanna activate the DJI Carry Fresh? Let's try to just back out of this. There we go. New firmware available. So you can either watch the tutorial in the goggles or go ahead and just start with your updates. The motion controller is also updating. It's going at about 2 megabytes per second, 330 megabytes total. So we'll just go ahead and let this do its thing, and I'll chime in when we're just about done. Okay guys, just chiming in. As you can see, the AVATA has rebooted. It just rebooted twice at 90%. Everything seems to be kind of blinking and rebooting. I believe this is probably what's updating now after the AVATA reboots. The motion controller is now updating. There we go. Yep, motion controller just beeped, and now you can see the light has kind of changed. This is not an iPhone, but it should be similar to the Android. This is an Android phone, a OnePlus phone. Third time that has rebooted in the last minute. So you don't want to be patient, let it go through all of its paces and do not interrupt it at all. Otherwise you're probably going to have to do this whole thing again. Okay, so I heard a beep there, beep on the goggles, and we're at 96%. Check it out, the AVATA now has a green light on top. Remember that was flashing for a while. Let's see what's going on the goggles. I'm just going to look at the screen. Looks like the goggles are now rebooting. The controller has beeped and rebooted several times. So a lot of things going on at once here. 99% firmware installed. Excellent. So it looks like everything is updated. Let's go back to the main screen here by pressing X. DJI AVATA firmware installed. Awesome. That's just where I was. I can press a little X on that. Remember DJI Carry Fresh, you have a while, 48 hours after activation, if you do want to get that refresh. That's basically a couple of crashes. They replace it for you, usually around $50 to $100 around there. So let's just go ahead and press Go Fly, check out this interface. And this is exactly what it shows on the goggles. Okay, aircraft sitting for extended period of time, power automatically, wait until aircraft cools down. Oh my gosh. So the AVATA wants to automatically shut down while I'm doing this. Let's see if it does. It looks like actually the AVATA did shut off. You see that? Powered off because it overheated. So really good to know. The AVATA is going to shut the heck off when it gets too hot. It just says disconnected. So I'm gonna have to wait for the AVATA to cool down. It should only be about 70 degrees outside right now. This is getting into the evening. Sorry about how long it's taking, but these are the things you're gonna have to go through And I guarantee you, you're gonna be as frustrated as me if you don't watch something like this. Let me let that cool down and then we'll finalize this thing and finally come to an end and do kind of a pros and cons. All right guys, so let's get moving here, shall we? Sorry about the complications, but these things are kind of the norm for DJI products when you're trying to not having them fly and doing stuff. They seem to overheat, especially the ones without cooling fans. Anyway, we're gonna try this again. This is actually another day. Let's go ahead and power this thing back on and kind of pick up where we left off. Go to settings, controller, motion controller to view instructions again. All right. I don't remember the other one having, maybe it did, but I just forgot. You see this entire interface. So I'm gonna put the goggles down now. And this is great because you guys can see this with me. So over on the left here, we've got our N mode. This is the mode it's in. As you can see, when I touch the screen, it can't do anything. So that's actually good. So you could have a viewer while you're flying, plugged into your goggles, you know, viewing this or screen recording. Over on the left-hand cluster, we have our height and how fast it's going up or down. Right now it's in meters and meters per second. I'm sure we can change that in the interface. Distance. Over on the right, we have our battery percentage. So this should be of the drone itself. It's 86%. 0 minutes of flight time here, of course. This is very small on the phone. You could also plug it into a tablet. You know, your buddy, your friend, or your family member can be holding the tablet and seeing exactly what you're doing. RC is strong, HD signal is strong. Throughput mode it's in, it looks like it's 7 megabits per second. How many satellites? Which is 0. So if this thing does have a GPS, since we're in the house, there's gonna be 0 right now because our new house is like a 2-story stucco metal roof house. And then it shows you the goggles is 54%, the goggle battery percentage, okay? Grab the motion controller and watch this, guys. As I move the tilt up and down, I can tilt that camera. Let me let you see the camera. We can get that in view as well. Everything here. So I'm pushing this little tilt button up and down and you can see the camera moving up and down. Hey there. How y'all doing? It's been a long time, but we are in our new place. There you go. That's as far down as you can go. It looks like negative 80 degrees, so you're not going to get a full 90. And at this negative, you can see the bottom of the drone there. It looks like just about negative 15 degrees is you're not going to see any prop guards. And then we can push it all the way up. Let's see how high we can go. 67 degrees. Normal mode, sport mode, okay? So that's how you change that. And then remember, if you double tap the lock, it will be ready to fly. So tap, tap. And then to launch, I believe it was click and hold lock. Let's just see if it, yep. Oh. All right, so that's up there, guys. Hopefully you can see that bad boy, but I just launched it in the house. I'm gonna bring it down. Holding lock, and it's coming down. I shouldn't have done that because the little baby boy is sleeping. Wife's gonna be mad at that one. It's using these sensors, guys, right down here. So it locked itself into, even though there's no GPS or anything, it's locking itself into the ground and it basically landed exactly where it left off. So this is gonna be neat to get this thing up in the air. Now that's not a quiet drone. You heard how loud that was. So I'm looking in the goggles now and I'm gonna go into the interface settings. Remember, we can swipe down from the top. We can swipe up from the bottom. I'm gonna swipe, let's see, let's get that out of the way. Let's swipe in from the back. And that's gonna be our settings. So we got status. Let's go into our settings here. Max flight altitude, distance, no limit, return to home altitude, update home point if you want, like if you move around and you can update it where you want it to return to home. Aircraft compass, IMU, it's all normal. Goggles compass, goggles IMU, camera view before loss. Whoa, okay, that's pretty cool. It's not showing you this, guys, but it's showing me what I just did before I landed. So it's playing me a little video in the goggles. That's pretty cool. It records it straight to the goggles. And so you can view that, guys. 2 fingers to go back. Crashing somewhere, you can view that in your goggles before you crashed and lost it to help you find it. ESC beeping. Okay, you hear that? So that's going to help you find it when you're searching for it. You turn that on in your goggles. Advanced safety setting. It's got the air sense to sense other aircraft. By default, in signal lost, it's going to try to return to home. So this is going to be interesting, man. I wasn't sure that this was going to have GPS antenna in it, but it seems like it does have it. Maybe right up there where I was thinking, where the light is. Let's go back to control. Motion controller. It just goes back to the flight control or calibration. Gimbal pitch speed. It's in normal, but let's see what we can adjust here. Slow or fast. So it doesn't give you a percentage of gimbal pitch, just 3 settings. Gimbal calibration, if it's getting all like unleveled and stuff. Units, this is what I wanted to change. I don't want metric. I want imperial. But at least you guys know that you can change that. Invert horizontal swipe. That was the one if you wanted to swipe left to right on your goggles, you can change it. Turtle mode, heck yeah. Doesn't let you choose anything. I guess it's on by default. Try to flip itself over if it's upside down. Let's go to camera. There's our aspect ratio, video quality. It's defaulting in 16:9, 4K 60. You can go to 4:3 if you want. You can do all these here. You can also do 4K 50 if you don't need the 4K 60. And then from there, it just goes down. 2K, 50, 60, 100. Wow, you can do 100 frames per second in 2K. And then 100 down to 100 in 1080. Camera field of view. So this is what you could change. Remember in the other one, if you didn't want to see the prop sometimes in their first FPV drone, you can go ahead and change this aspect ratio. Image stabilization, so it's using the same technology as their action cam. So you can do rock steady, which stabilizes all directions, and then you can also do horizontal steady to keep the horizon flat if you wanted. That's amazing. Auto ISO limit defaulted at 64. We'll leave that. You can turn grid lights on. Center point, storage. Okay, here we go. Internal gives you 21.1 usable gigabytes. I don't have an SD card in the goggles right now, so if you want, you can switch it to SD card there, get more storage. Format. This will format the internal storage of the goggles, aircraft card storage, or goggles card storage. Advanced camera settings, record with, oh great, yeah, this is familiar. Aircraft and goggles or both. Camera view recording. I kind of forget what that does. It's on by default. Of course we want the camera view to be recorded. Auto record on takeoff. So that's interesting. You can just set it to go ahead and record. I actually think I want to have that on because you're not going to be flying without the goggles anyway. And if you forget to start recording, you're going to be sour about that. That's kind of like the Parrot Disco was. Remember, it just starts recording when it takes off. So you'll never forget to start. Color, normal or decine-like. Anti-flicker audio, video, subtitles. Let's check out display. You can adjust your brightness. Now this is in the goggles now, what I'm seeing here. I'm not sure how it's going to show up on the screen. There you go. Maybe it got a little brighter. Let's go back down to 4. Nope. Oh wow, when I take the goggles off my face, guys, it completely blocks out the buttons. So you can't even press anything. Display scaling. Let's see what this does. Let's go down to 50. Ah. So if you're getting blurries on the sides, you can always get your display from 50 to 100%. And it just shrinks the size of the video in the goggles. And display home point. Yeah, that's actually very useful because you're flying around and in your goggles, you're going to see where you're at. Let's look at transmission. Let's go up. Pilot, broadcasting. Focus mode auto or channel mode auto. So I usually leave it in auto because it's going to just, for the bandwidth, how far you are away and the interference, it's going to just adjust to the best possible viewing. And I've had pretty good experience with the auto stuff. Broadcasting off or on, so like if you wanted to broadcast, you know, your video out, I guess, to other people so they can tune in to your stream with other DJI goggles. Let's go to status. DJI AVATA, country code not updated, certain features unavailable, make sure GPS. Okay, so when it's gets in the GPS outside, then it will update its country code. And then you can switch aircraft. So say you also have the DJI FPV attached to these goggles, you can go ahead and bind it up and then switch. I'm gonna go back here, and then the only other thing was the more down here. There is the virtual flight simulator and wireless streaming. All right, so you can use these goggles as like an entertainment center to watch movies. That's awesome. Let me just check out the app right here, DJI Virtual Flight. So if you want to do some training, download the Virtual Flight app, guys. 2 fingers again. And that really is everything you can possibly do in the goggles, guys. And I hope that was informative to you. Oh, and we have an auto off again. It's going to overheat. So there we go, guys. This thing will overheat if it sits for too long without flying, all right? So what do we think? Quick little pros and cons on the unbox and initial setup, updating. So the linking, remember, that's gonna be probably the hardest thing you do on this. If it doesn't work the first time, go ahead and just, you know, power everything down, restart up, and just retry all the stuff you saw in the video. By the way, these little guys here are little lens receptacles. So if you have really bad eyesight and the diopter adjustment that I showed you, the focusing, you can't really see things clear in the goggles, you can go ahead and get prescription lenses in here. Besides that, just with my eyesight, I could probably play with the IPD adjustment a little bit, but it did seem like you do have a very large field of view, but the edges are still a little bit blurry. So if there was one con in the view, that's it. They have really improved the way the goggles fit on the face. You have no light leaks whatsoever. We'll see that more in the flight test in the sun. I'll mention if I see any light leaks. Just from that quick little table launch, this thing is loud, okay? So don't expect this to be a little tiny whoop, quiet little drone. This is going to be loud because it's heavy. It's got those 5-blade props. Anyway, guys, I really hope that was informative to you and you enjoyed that, and that was a lot of information. And these are the kind of things that you need to know when you're first getting something like this. So really just take your time. Remember, charge the batteries up fully on all of the peripherals, even though it takes like 2 hours total. That's another con, is it takes 2 hours to get you started from a half charge. Like I said, my better camera for unboxing is coming. It's in the container shipping to our new address. So forgive me if it wasn't the best quality. I usually like to go really close up, but as you can see, things start to get blurry when I get close up with this little DJI action cam. Anyway, thanks for watching, and don't miss the flight test. I'll see you there.